All right, y'all. We gonna get right to it. Welcome for sliding on through the scripture Sundays at night. That's right. With your neighborhood Hebrew man, what's going on with you? Welcome y'all to the neighborhood Hebrew ministries for the community, my residents who tap in. I know it ain't a lot of y'all, but hopefully it builds up and y'all just go ahead and get that word on out. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, and share. Tap on in if y'all reach on out during the live show. It's all good. I'm probably not going to read too much of it, but save your questions to the end because we're going to get to it. So, again, appreciate y'all for sliding on through the scripture Sundays at night. What your Darash Barak, ya brethren, your neighborhood Hebrew. Y'all make sure that y'all remember to tap in with Zoom Bible study on Friday and Saturday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know, I done missed it, you know what I'm saying, at least for the last 2 weeks, but I still promote it and push it because we should always be jumping in that book together. So it's 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We on the West Coast with it. If y'all on a fellowship with me, hit me up tomorrow, closing out the Feast of Tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? So I know I got a little bit of running around to do in the first part of the day. But if y'all want to link up, let me know. We can make it happen. All right. If you don't know, now you know. We out here in Stockton, so we like to put some things on for the people, for the neighborhood out here. So if anybody wants to put their bodies to the lobby of help, lobbying your help, giving your help, come put the works in with your brethren, come have some fun with your brethren. Let us know for the last Sunday of the month. That's going to be on the 28th. The 28th. Most High will we can make that happen. If y'all want to link up with us, just let me know so we can go ahead and get there. Okay? Let's see. Again, appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for sliding on through. Now, y'all know what I say, and what I say is what I mean. So if the Most High hears what you feel through this ministry, let him hear it. If y'all want to donate anything, it's up to you. There's no obligations. If y'all want to donate anything to the Cash App to support this ministry or my brother's ministry, 242, make sure y'all tap in with the Cash Apps, $ Spoken Law, and $ Mark Norman Jr. That helps us out so we can go ahead and help the people out and do what we got to do. Also, if y'all need any graphics, any designs, hey man, prayers up, man. Prayers up. You know what I'm saying? For your grandma. You know, Most High willing, you know, he has mercy on her soul while she's in the waiting place. In whichever place it may be, we hoping it's Abraham's bosom. You understand me? But condolences to whoever you might be, Mr. Cool Man. Let's see, where was we at? So yeah, if y'all need any designs, any logos, anything like that, just let me know. I do that on the side. I can help you out with it. I got deals. If you guys want to add another design to the design you already got, I'll just charge you extra $20. I got unlimited revisions, and I get them done real quick, fast, and in a hurry with a fast turnaround time. Also, I ain't even rocking it right now. I'm tripping right now. But if y'all tap on in, hold on real quick. I got to show. I got to show them since I didn't even have them on. Now I gotta go 2 chains on this thing. I gotta go 2 chains on this thing. 2 chains with the double commandments hang, let the double commandments hang. You feel me? 2 chains on that thing. But as y'all can see here, got the 10 Commandments necklaces. Peace to you. Peace to the chat. Hope y'all doing well. Hope everything is good with you. 10 Commandments necklaces. Y'all want one? It's 1 for 10, 2 for 15. But if y'all want the double-sided, as you can see here, it's 1 for 20, 2 for 30. I hope y'all having a blessed one. I hope y'all having a blessed one. Appreciate it. If y'all believe in this here Bible, Like I'm talking about, y'all remember what we used to do in school, right? We used to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm in California. I'm in California. So just let me know. Um, Hit me up on my Instagram at Neighborhood Hebrews. Hit me up there. I'll link in with you and we can make something happen. But y'all remember how we used to do in school? We had to do a Pledge of Allegiance. Well, over here at Neighborhood Hebrews, we have a Pledge of Allegiance prayer. So if y'all with me, go ahead and grab your book, grab your Bible, grab your Bible. Now you can't talk right here because we got a show going on. So just hit me up over there or send me a message. Hey, we'll make it happen. So as we pledge allegiance, we're grabbing that Bible, putting it over our heart, hands in the air. Y'all can repeat after me, or you can just listen on in. I pledge allegiance to the Bible of the house of Yasharal, for which it stands, one nation under Yahweh. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light to my path. I will hide your word in my heart that I might not sin against it. For in your word is freedom and redemption to the house of Yasharal. Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha, I pray and rebuke every spiritual curse that has come upon me and my household, whether visible, hidden, or generational. Let every chain be broken today, and let evil have no right to enter. Yahweh, I declare that our spouses, our children, and our families are covered by the blood of Yahusha. Build a spiritual wall of protection around us so that no curse, attack, or strife can enter our homes. In Yahusha's name, Yada Barak Yahweh. Yada Barak Yahweh. Yada Barak Yahweh. If y'all notice, I might have switched it up on the end. My brother brought me some good information. Um, Brought me some good information. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? People, I don't do what you say now. I'm not a man of God. Hey, cool. Go ahead and just leave. But anyway, y'all might have noticed how I used to say, well, I ain't gonna say I used to say, but I was saying, and I'm probably still gonna say it every now and again until I fully, you know what I'm saying, transition over to it. But I'm trying to, do better when I hear right information. So I used to say halal Yahweh. But halal means really just to shine. And yada, right? The Hebrew word yada and barak, those are giving praises to the Most High. So, my brother gave me that information. I looked it up a bit, and that's good fruit. That's good fruit. Now, if you want to do what you want to do, hey, that's cool. That's on you. But the root meaning of yada is to extend or throw up the hand. So you know, when we throw up the hands, that's the giving the praise, to the Most High. So that's really what it is. That's really what it's about. The spiritual meaning is to lift up or to extend hands in thanksgiving, worship, or praise. Right? So that's what it's about. Um, it carries the sense of openly declaring the Most High Yahweh's greatness with raised hands as an act of surrender, adoration, or reverence. Okay? Hey, this is what we doing. Hey, look, why don't you just go do something with your time? You know what I mean? And then Barak, right? So Barak means to kneel in blessing and adoration. So when you give him praise to the Most High, it has to be directly correlated to that, not what other people want to say that it is. Just like when y'all might have grown up saying hallelujah. Well, have anybody ever looked into the hallelujah? Right? So, hey man, cool. Your house is worth, hey, that's cool. Go live in it and have good times. Good. You know what I'm saying? Good job for you. Get the hell off the line. Here we go, some other stuff, man. So anyway, we going to the topic of the show tonight. Topic of the show tonight, and even for y'all who don't even know why you're here, even for y'all who don't know why you're here, how would I be bitter if you talking to me about what you got? I'm not asking you what you got. Hey, you can go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, go enjoy your $800,000 house. Hey, go enjoy it. So the topic of the show is Who are the mixed multitude who came out of Egypt? Right? Who are the mixed multitude? So, I'm gonna speak from both points of views of who people might think it is, but we're gonna touch on some scriptures just to kind of just open it up, and if you got some thoughts on it, it's all good. It's all good. So the first part we're gonna look at is obviously the title of the class. So the mixed multitude, or the title of the show rather. Um, I do classes all the time, so I get a little mixed up every now and again. So mixed multitude. So in Exodus chapter 12 and verse 38, let's go look at that. And we in the GNT, so it says a large number of other people and many sheep, goats, and cattle also went with them. Let's look at it in the KJV, and it says, and a mixed multitude went up also with them in flocks and herds, even very much cattle. All right. So we want to look at that. So the mixed multitude, people will say, well, okay, well, the mixed multitude could be, foreigners, other nations, that was in Egypt or around Egypt, that were doing business and commerce and everything like that with Egypt, the Cushites, the Libyans, the Philistines, the Asiatics, and whatnot, so on and so forth. So, but you could say that all these different people joined Israel in their exodus coming out of Egypt, right? Now you could say it was by choice or covenant allegiance, but now we could, if we thinking about who the law was given to, who the Most High said that Egypt should let go through the voice of Moses, he said, "Let my people go." So why would other people go that weren't the Hebrews? You know what I mean? So by choice. Okay, cool. Cool. They came out by choice. But let's look at something a little bit deeper that most people probably don't look at. And this is what me and my brother was talking about. This is where the conversation even started. We was watching some breakdown, not even a breakdown. I think it was like a debate or something between some brothers, and it just kind of sparked a different side conversation just between me and my brother while we was watching the video. Um, so I proposed. I was like, well, what about Joseph's sons, right? So let's look into Joseph's lineage and those generations. So Joseph's sons, we're gonna go to Genesis chapter 41, verses 50 to 52. And we the good news. It says, before the years of famine came, Joseph had two sons by Asenath. He said, Yah has made me forget all my sufferings and all my father's family. So he named his first son Manasseh. He also said, Yahweh has given me children in the land of my trouble. So he named his second son Ephraim. Okay, so let's go look at where we see like sort of like an adoption or a bringing in of Ephraim and Manasseh. So we're going to go to Genesis 48 and 5. It says, Joseph, your two sons were born to you in Egypt before I came here, belong to me. Okay, so Jacob is telling Joseph this, right? That they belong to me. Ephraim and Manasseh are just as much my sons as Reuben and Simeon. Now, obviously, that's in the GNT, but you can catch the gist of what's going on and what he's saying. So that's where you kind of get that adoption kind of feel, right? Because they're from the blood of, right? Or so when people look at grafting in, you can't get grafted in to something that you were never a part of, right? So a apple tree can't get grafted into an orange tree. That fruit is going to be mixed and mingled and deformed, right? It's going to have deformities to it, right? It's going to look weird. It's going to be weird. Shit's going to be weird. Okay, so that grafting in doesn't happen that way. That adoption only became because they still had the blood, right, of Jacob in them. Okay, so in the KJV it says, "Thy two sons are mine, as Reuben and Simeon. They shall be mine." So that's what he's kind of alluding to. So Jacob pulls them into Israel, right, by covenant. You know what I'm saying? So if we're looking at that, now we can get a better grasp of, you know, the generational, so now we know that because when Ephraim and Manasseh came, that was before they got out of Egypt. So now we got to look at that and how that's broken down. So let's go to Genesis chapter 50 and verse 23. It says, "He lived to see Ephraim's sons into the third generation, and he lived to see the birth of the children of Manasseh's son Machir, who he claimed as his own." Like, who he claimed as his own. And in the KJV it says, "And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought up upon Joseph's knees." Okay? So great great grandpa, you know what I'm saying, sitting him down talking to him. Okay? So Joseph lived long enough to see Ephraim's third generation and Manasseh's. Okay? So he's able to see their third generation. So this shows multiple generations of Ephraimites and Manassites, or children of Manasseh, the tribe of Manasseh, already living in Egypt before the Exodus. Now, why even bringing this up? Well, because we're talking about a mixed multitude. So if we look at Ephraim and Manasseh, they were mixed. They were mixed. Regardless of, what other brothers say that, oh, can't nothing be mixed. No, they were mixed. It's mixed blood. And that's why I put an emphasis on the third and fourth generations. All right. So next we're going to look at, when were they considered fully Israel? Okay. Now we got to look at the covenant principles of generations and how they work. So now we obviously got to go to Deuteronomy 23 verses 7 and 8. In the GNT it says, "Do not despise the Edomites; they are your relatives. Do not despise the Egyptians. You once lived in their land, and you once what? Had children with them." Okay? It says, "From the third generation onward, their descendants may be included among the Most High's people." So on that outer court, okay, can they come to that outer court and worship among us? But in that third generation onward, okay, onward, on that third generation onward. Let's look in the KJV and see what it says. It says, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was once a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Most High in their third generation." So the children that you had sex with them, with their women, okay, they shall be brought back into the congregation, into the fold in their third generations. So this is why we read what we read about the mixing, and about, Jacob speaking to his great great grandchildren, and Joseph speaking to his great great grandchildren in the third generations. All right. So the Torah itself, which is what we just read, the Torah, Deuteronomy, establishes that the Egyptian mixed children were not fully considered Israel until the third generation. So that aligns with what the Most High is saying. So when we apply this to Ephraim and Manasseh, the first generation, Ephraim and Manasseh themselves, right? So they're full. Okay? They're full. Half, half, because Ephraim and Manasseh come from Joseph and the Egyptian. So they're half and half, right? So they're still hanging around. The second generation is their children. So now they're a quarter of Egyptian in there, right? Now the third generation, they're fully back in, because that's what the scriptures say. That's what the law say, right? They're fully back in when we go back to Deuteronomy 23 and 8. Okay, going back to the principles of the law and how the Most High designed things to come back in. Now, in the fourth generation, they're completely established. They've completely came back into the fold, because now that third generation was fully accepted. Why? Because they're coming back and they're mixing back into Israel, coming back, grafting back in where they were rooted from, grafted back in. All right. So this aligns with the Most High's word, even to Abraham. Let's go over to Genesis 15 and 16. It says, in the fourth generation, your descendants will come back here. Now, this is a covenant between the Most High and Abraham to his descendants. He's letting them know what the prophecy is going to be. For the iniquity of the Amorites is yet complete. So what's going to happen in the fourth generation? Your descendants come back. All right? Come back. So Israel's exodus happens in the fourth generation after Jacob, including Ephraim and Manasseh's full acceptance, right, of their descendants coming back. So all the generations that were mixed in the quarter and in there and then fully back. I mean, it only seems to make sense, but I mean, you know, I'm throwing something out there to see what y'all think about it. So now let's look at, you know, the sojourners or strangers, right? The stranger in Exodus 12, verses 48 and 49. Let's look at that. It says, and when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, a stranger shall come chill with you and will keep the Passover to the Most High, let all his males be circumcised. Why? Because he's a stranger who has not been around you. He doesn't know the customs in which you were keeping. And then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. So what did we just talk about? In order to be grafted back in or come back in and be one as was born here, you would have to be connected. You have to be connected. Okay? Verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. So we're homeborn, we're raised here, right? Just like we say in our neighborhood, man, I'm homegrown, I'm loyal to the soil, raised here. But let's say your cousin or your sister or your brother or your family, your relatives, they move away, right? Them and their household, their family, they move away. So they haven't been keeping these customs. They moved away, they left. So if we look at it in Egypt, right, when we were slaves in Egypt, you think every single Israelite just stayed there, or you think some may have ran away, lived somewhere else, over in Africa or up in Asia? You don't think nobody left? Is that what you think? Okay, okay. Well, I mean, if that's what we're thinking, you know what I'm saying? Again, I'm just proposing something and putting something on the table, you know? So this stranger is one who sojourns among Israel, but is not yet covenant joined. So if your cousin who dipped out, let's say they're in the streets, but you still in the quote unquote church, and then they come back around, you gotta walk them through the process of what it takes or what they need to do in order to get back right and get their life back aligned. Okay? So the early generations of Ephraim and Manasseh, the first and second, could have been viewed, mind you, I'm just throwing out some possibilities to y'all, right? They could have been viewed like strangers because of Egyptian blood. Now, I think there's something, let me see. Somewhere, I think it's Judges 11. Let me see. Yeah, in Judges 11, let me see. I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, so in Judges 11, when you read at the start at the top, you got Jephthah, the Gileadite, right? But he was a son of a harlot in the way that they treated him, right? They treated him like he was an outcast, like he was a mixed breed, right? They didn't want to give him full leadership in this and that. Nah, but they knew he was good at war, so they had to come back and get him because he was family, because he do got the blood, but he wasn't considered, you know, uh, full blooded. You know what I'm saying? Purebred. You know what I mean? Thorough. You know what I mean? Thoroughbred. You know what I mean? So, but y'all go check that out. Go check that out. So now, when we link that into the thought process of what's going on with the mixed multitude that's coming out, that may be how the rest of Israel is viewing these other people. Because again, back then we lived to see generations upon generations of our family. So we can't just assume that those people weren't there. Those first and second generations weren't living amongst them. We can't assume that either. But again, that's why I'm trying to speak to both sides of this thing. But by the third and fourth generations, they were absorbed fully as Israel. So you're going to have some full-blooded, you know, tribes of Ephraim, tribes of Manasseh. You're going to have some full-blooded by the time we leave. You see what I'm saying? Because the first generation of Ephraim and Manasseh, when Ephraim and Manasseh were born, right, they were able to. This is before Jacob even died. You know, so or I could be wrong on that Jacob probably died, but at least before Joseph. You know what I'm saying? So, but Joseph was still able to see, like I said, up into their third generations. So, hey, come on now, come on, walk with me and talk with me just a little bit. So now let's go into the Apocrypha and see what that's talking about in Sirach 44 and 23. So I'm going to start at verse 22 first. So it says, with Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men and the covenant. So what is that talking about? It's talking about the all men through Abraham, because blessed through his seed, blessed through his seed. So when we look at the all, we have to understand the context of who we're talking to. That's talking about the all of who? Israel. The all of Israel. I don't know why I be doing this. Show me one time, that ain't no show. So for some reason it was tripping out a little bit. So it says, so Sirach 44 and 23, it says, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him an heritage and divided his portions among the 12 tribes. Did he part them? So you see how it broke that down? That was from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to the 12 tribes. Go ahead and go look at Revelation. Oh, of course, faith is always important. It's always important. You know what I mean? It's always important. Keep making positive content. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So yeah, y'all go ahead and check this out and just look into it. So in Sirach 44 and 23, Joseph's blessings extend to Ephraim and Manasseh, that the inheritance of Jacob might rest upon them. Because remember, it's coming into the third and fourth generations. Okay, so we're talking about the mixed multitude that came out with Israel from Egypt. So we got to look at these things. So I'm just putting everything out there. Hey, maybe rally your mind a little bit, provoke some thought. Hey, see what it do. You know what I'm saying? Throw a little pebble in the water and see how far that ripple goes. So now we're going to go to the book of Jubilees, and we're going to go to chapter 46, verses 13 and 14. And it says, come and let us deal wisely with them before they become too many, and let us afflict them with slavery before war come upon us, and before they too fight against us. Else they will join themselves unto our enemies and get them up out of our land, for their hearts and faces are towards the land of Canaan. And he set over them taskmasters to afflict them with slavery, and they built strong cities for Pharaoh, uh, Pithom, and Ramses, and they built all the walls and all the fornications which had fallen in the cities of Egypt. All right. So Jacob takes them in and adopts them. You know what I'm saying? He takes them in and he adopts them, right? But the text subtle, like it's subtle how it does it. It shows that this was a process of incorporation, not instant full acceptance of their mixed lineage. Because we gotta always do the work. Everybody has to do the work. I don't give a damn who you are. What you believe in, what you don't believe in, who you think you are, who you don't know who you are. It doesn't matter. Everybody got to do the work. It's the faith plus the works. So you got to do the work. So we got to examine these things. We got to look in these things because just because they have the blood of their father, who is through the blood of Jacob, through the blood of Isaac, and the blood of Abraham, that doesn't give you a straight pass. Okay, we got to do the work. So you got to work it back in to Israel. Is the whole point of that. Okay. So let's look at the other nations in Egypt. Now, these scriptures that I'm pointing to are other scriptures that others might look to or point to and point out, okay, well, yeah, these people were there, but were they there around the same time? Were they dwelling there? Were they in captivity and slavery with the Israelites? Because what we just read in Jubilees and what we know it to be, Israelites were growing so large in number that they couldn't do nothing with them. So they, he wanted to kick them the hell out because they was getting too big. So there really wasn't no room for no other nations. If we really think about it, there wasn't no other room for that. So this is why I'm leaning more towards that mixed multitude being the descendants of uh, Joseph and Ephraim and Manasseh, possibly the first and the second generation in their, you know what I'm saying, and their children. Because again, we talking about back in the day. So these is thousands, hundreds of thousands. Because by the time they got out of Egypt, I think they was damn near at 1,000,000 people. You know what I mean? So you got to think about that, man. That's a lot of people coming out of there. So it's some generations upon generations in there. You know what I mean? So, but let's look at the other nations in Egypt, and let's go to Jeremiah 46 and 9. We're gonna just grab two of them, and it says it's in the good news. So it says, "Command the horses to go and the chariots to roll. Send out the soldiers, men from Ethiopia and Libya, carrying shields, and skilled men from Lydia who handle the bow." Okay, so now this prophecy is against Egypt. So I just want people to know that prophecy is against Egypt. But people will use that to say, well, the Cushites were there, the Libyans were there, the Lydians were there, um, and they were all part of in Pharaoh's army. But this is actually a prophecy against Egypt's destruction. Okay, so we Most High didn't just deal with just Egypt right then. He also dealt with them other times outside of the Exodus. So again, this is a real quick show. Y'all can go look up, some of this information on your own. But we're gonna go to Amos chapter 9 and verse 7. It says, Yahweh says, "People of Israel, I think as much of the people of Ethiopia as I do of you. I brought the Philistines from Crete and the Syrians from Kir, just as I brought you from Egypt." I'm gonna look at that in the KJV. It says, "Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Saith Yahweh, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Kaphtar, and the Syrians from Kir?" So you see how people will mix that up. They'll lump the Philistines and they'll lump the Philistines, the Syrians, and all that from being from Egypt. But he's asking different questions to about the Philistines and about the Syrians. So that's something else to look at, because people gonna bring stuff up, but it might be at context, because the Philistines are from Kaphtar, which could be tied to Egypt, but at what time period? At what time period was this? Was this during the Exodus? We don't know. We don't know. But that's why I say I lean towards, it being the descendants, the mixed multitude being the descendants of Ephraim and Manasseh. So the Egyptian records show Nubians, obviously in the hieroglyphs, right? You see Nubians, Libyans, Asiatics, Aegeans in Egypt, but you don't know the time period. That's my thing. That's my thing on this. So let's just combine all the information that we got in the show as I wind this thing on down. And y'all just, y'all can tap in with me and let me know what you think. Y'all can bring some stuff out, on your own time, or just hit me up in the DM. We can have a little discussion on it. I don't argue with nobody, and I'm not finna have no debate with you. I don't care. I'm pointing out the information here on this platform. You can do it on your platform, and however, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If we want to break some bread, cool. It's nothing wrong with breaking no bread, but I'm not finna argue with you. You know, so one, we looked at the mixed multitude, right? Now again, you can say that the mixed multitude is the foreigners, like the Egyptians, the Cushites, the Libyans, or whatnot. But if you look at Passover, the first Passover, the Most High killed the firstborn of the Egyptians. That's why there was that hollering, screaming, because they didn't get the command to put the blood on their doorposts. So why would they come out with Israel when they God just killed when Israel's God just killed, all their firstborn? So we have to think about that. Next, we had, going to my point. Like I said, I was talking about both points here. So my point was Ephraim and Manasseh being the mixed multitude as the half Egyptian adopted by Jacob, grandpa. You know what I'm saying? So we're just recapping again, looking at all the information. So you got the first generation, which is Ephraim and Manasseh, right? Still strangers by law. By law, these are still strangers. Second generation, they're still strangers because they got partial inclusion, okay? Because they're not in the third and fourth generation. Now, the third generation, they're fully covenantal Israelites going back to Deuteronomy 23 and 8, right? And I know what y'all saying, oh, well, this is before Deuteronomy and all of that. Well, the Most High's law has always been eternal. It's always been eternal. Like look at the way you see the offerings being done from Cain and Abel. Now, aren't there offerings in the law for the Levites to give? So that's just a quick example. But you know what I'm saying? Because his law is eternal. It's always been. We just didn't recognize when it was, right? And how they were commemorating it and keeping it, guarding it, right? So in the fourth generation, they are established as true tribes in the Exodus. Okay, this is how we see the Genesis 15 and 16 being fulfilled. Okay, now the strangers or sojourners or distant relatives, right? Distant relatives. Now, there's something else that you could be talking about. You couldn't, what I'm saying, might want to look into your studies though. It could be the Ishmaelites, could be the Midianites, could be the Edomites. Because the Edomite is Hebrew. The Ishmaelite is a Hebrew, right? Midianites, I think these is Hebrews too, but they're just not Israelites. Now, that could be something else that we can go over too, y'all. You know what I'm talking about? That could be something else we can go over. You feel me? Because that very well could be, I'm just not thinking about it right now. Edomites, Midianites, and Ishmaelites could very well be the mixed multitude. Because these is actually family. But you don't really see them hanging around. I don't find any well, you know what? Let me take that back because I ain't looked. So I might need to jot that down in my notes. Go ahead and check that out and just look into the Ishmaelites, Midianites, and Edomites, because these are all considered, I'm paraphrasing this lightly, but these are all basically considered Hebrews, but they're not Israelites. So these Hebrews don't have the covenant because Ishmael didn't get the covenant or the promise. He didn't get that. He got some blessings, but he didn't get the promise, the covenant. Something else to look forward to. Now, we're also going to look into the other nations in Egypt, right? Now, one could say that it's proven by the Bible that these other nations, that we mentioned in Jeremiah 46 and 9 and Amos 9 and 7, you know, and if you want to tap into some archaeology, you can see that there were other nations in Egypt, but at what time period? It's just like if you look into the Americas or America, right? You can look in certain time periods and see who was here or who wasn't here, right? You can do that all over the world, wherever you want to go. But if you come look at America now, you're going to see everybody. And then one could say, well, everybody was in America. Everybody was from America. If you look at it from a modern point of view. So we could be looking at some ancient artifacts, but they might be more modern, compared to the actual conversation that we really have, which is who are the mixed multitude who came out of Egypt with Israel, So let's look at some takeaways from this thing. So the Most High's covenant took time to absorb even the descendants of Joseph into Israel's full identity, because that's what it always takes time. If you look at how to, let's say, you got a white woman, or you got just another ethnicity, Mexican, Asian, Polynesian, African, whatever you want to use, and you mix two of the people, but y'all want the descendants to look more like the other, as time goes on. So let's say an Asian grandfather wants his children obviously to look like him. A Mexican grandmother wants her grandchildren to look like her. So if you go mess with another nation, guess what you're going to do? You're going to try to keep that person, that your grandchild or your daughter or your son or whoever, whatever. You're going to try to keep their spouse that they're with, or the person that they linked up with and had children with. You're going to try to keep them around you and your family. So now guess what? Your child their child wants to, or is more now attracted to the young men and young women that are from said ethnicity. You see what I'm saying? So the Most High works that same way. With that's where they get that from, because that comes from the Most High, which is why we see the coming back into the congregation in the third and fourth generations. Okay. Then we see the mixed multitude shows that the Most High's deliverance was open, right? It was open. It was always ready to, hey, go ahead and get it back right and come back on in. Get it back right and come back on in. And even for the Gentiles, look, you got a space in the court. May not be in the temple and the sanctuary, right? For all y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, go read Revelations chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. The saints, the Israelites, were counted inside, and then the Gentiles were on the outside, right, in the courtyard. Okay, they were not to be numbered, right? But the saints, the children of Israel, there was always a number that the Father kept on them, which is just like the 144. It's like the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, just like the 12,000 from each tribe of Israel to be counted in that 144. You see what I'm saying? So it all, we just got to look at it, what I'm saying, from a biblical lens, not a subjective lens from how you feel and how, your love for love and how your religion has taught you and all this. No. You got to just look at it from an objective view from what the Bible is actually telling you. Okay. Then we look at the law, which is what I was speaking of, the law about the third and fourth generations, showing how the Most High purifies and incorporates, right, the nation into his people, or really his people into the nations. Because what? If you get with the such and such nation that's, allowed in his word, through those generations, they can come back in. But why? It's because they're coming back in they're marrying back into Israel. They're coming back into Israel. The seed line's coming back into Israel in the third and fourth generations, right? We see Israel's exodus was already a multi-ethnical covenant event. Why? Because of Ephraim and Manasseh. So that again goes back to my point about it being what? The mixed multitude, and just from what I'm seeing, is the remnant of the first, second, and even the third and fourth generations of Ephraim and Manasseh. And two of them generations was mixed. Okay? So the final thing I want to say before wrapping this show up is the mixed multitude in Exodus 12, in my eyes, the way I see it, were the actual strangers of their own, right? They're strangers of their own who weren't counted as Israel, but more so mixed. Just like how we would see somebody today, we'd be like, oh man, yeah, that's bruh. Oh, but he mixed. Oh, that's sis. Oh yeah, she mixed though. But that's sis. That's bruh. You know what I'm saying? So Ephraim and Manasseh's first and second generations were indeed among Israel. Okay? But because of their Egyptian blood, they were like strangers or foreigners. Okay? Until the third and fourth generations, when they were fully accepted as Israelite tribes. How do we know? Because we go back to the law and how it tells us how things would be. And according to the prophecy that he gives Abraham about coming back in the fourth generation. Okay? The stranger laws show that Israel's covenant, okay, was always open to let the lost ones back in. That's what it was for, to let the lost ones back in. And to help even show others which way to follow, to cleave. Just like the prophet says that the other nations would cleave to the house of Jacob. And that we would be a light to show them which way to go. Okay? But there's always been a separation because the other nations have always done differently than what the Most High's chosen have done. So there's always separation. Now, if you want to get on this side, what happens when you see something that you like, or an organization that you like, or a lifestyle or culture that you like? Do you get to just go over there and just do what you want, or do you got to get in line with what they're doing? That's just a question. Because for some reason, when it comes to the Bible, now it's just open and everybody just does what they want. But that's not Bible. Maybe this isn't the culture that you want to be a part of, because it, just like any other group, any other club, any other cult, any other classroom, college course that you got to go through, you got to fall in line with what the course is talking about. You got to fall in line, and you got to do what uh, it's said to be required of in that program. Same thing. Egypt itself housed many nations at different times, though. But if you want to loop them in, the Cushites, Libyans, Philistines, Asiatics, and whatnot, okay, what cool. But I just asked you to just prove that they were there at the time of Exodus. Because from Exodus chapter 1 all the way on up, you don't really see, you don't read anybody else outside of Israel keeping the command to put the blood on their doorposts. So who else, what other nation, this is a question for y'all, what other nation was there between Exodus chapter 1 and Exodus chapter 12? Okay, coming out of Egypt, followed those instructions to be able to come out. I don't know. Okay, proving that the Exodus was, okay, it was multinational. Now you could say it's from that point of view and say, oh, well, they was there. But if you ain't got no proof, you would have to lean more so to the Ephraim and Manasseh. you would have to lean more towards the Ephraim and Manasseh. But I hope this was informational for y'all. I appreciate y'all for sliding through to the neighborhood with your Hebrew. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share this thing. That's if you can appreciate it. The water for tuning in to Scripture Sundays at night. Hey, what we doing is we just trying to get it right. I don't try to present y'all things that it's like, oh man, I just know everything and I got it. No. I'm presenting things that me and my brother talk about that we want to present. Some things, I just stand, 10 toes down on. But again, I can always be wrong in these things. But I present you some information that, makes you ponder one time. So will you ponder? Ponder. We also got the Zoom Bible study on Friday and Saturday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want the link, let me know. If y'all want a fellowship, I'm out here in Northern California. If y'all want to link up, tomorrow close out Feast of Tabernacles. Feast of Tabernacles is closed out. Next Monday, I'm commemorating another Shabbat, so I'm off. And then bringing in the new moon of the 8th month on the 23rd, next Tuesday. And then my Shabbats will be Tuesday following after that. So if y'all want to link in with me, let me know. See what's too. Y'all know what it is. If y'all want to come down here and break some bread, have some fun, and get to a little bit of the works with me and my brother out here in Stockton, Most High Will, on the 28th. If y'all want to link up, get the information from me, let me know. It's Neighborhood Hebrews on this platform and on my IG, the Rosh Barak Yah, on Facebook. So y'all could just hit me up. It's all good. If anything has hit your spirit, let the Most High hear it. Y'all already know what you can do if you want to throw a donation or alms. You can hit the Cash App at $Spoken Law for this ministry of the neighborhood. And you can hit the Cash App for my brother, 242th Ministries, at $Mark Norman Jr. Y'all can follow him at AHK_LAHAG and go catch him on his studies and what he got going on. Most High willing, we're gonna link some more shows together, some more classes together and whatnot, but we're gonna get it together. I think he's actually doing a show on this topic too, but I think he's going in, probably going through another direction, or just doing a little bit more deep study on it. But yeah, y'all be sure to go check him out and hey, just hit him up and ask him when he gonna do his. It's all good. Yeah. Again, if y'all need graphics or anything like that, I charge $50 for the first design that you're going to bring me, per design. If you want to add to that design and add more designs, I charge an extra $20. Each design price comes with unlimited revisions until we get it right. Once we get it right, there ain't no coming back and doing it again. You feel me? But I got a fast turnaround. You'll have the first revision usually within the day. I know most people don't work like that, but I try to get it right and get it to the best of what you like. A lot of times I'm usually done by like day 2, day 3. If it goes on any longer than that, that's just because we're really trying to fine tune some things. But usually it's done within the first couple days. Y'all see what it is. If y'all want them commandments around your neck, let me know. You get the one-sided ones, 1 for 10, 2 for 15. If you want the double-sided like I got here, double-sided is 1 for 20 and 2 for 30. Let me know. Give all praises to the Most High. Yada Barak Yahweh. In Yahushua's name. Israel be blessed. In the neighborhood, y'all be kind and gentle to one another and help each other get right. Pray for one another, stand up for one another, and we just gonna keep this thing going and make sure that we cover. Shalom, shalom.